Welcome. Tonight, we're stepping into the deep woods, into that quiet isolation many seek. But we're looking at times when that isolation becomes a stage for pure terror. We've gathered 4 accounts, really chilling ones, from people who just wanted an escape. Instead, they found themselves facing, well, things that are hard to comprehend. Our goal isn't just to relay scary stories. We're here to explore these real-life encounters, focusing on the details, the fear, and maybe what saved them.
Exactly. These aren't campfire tales. They're experiences that highlight profound vulnerability. We want to look at the triggers, the instincts, and sometimes the sheer impossibility of what occurred.
Okay, let's start with one from the late 1980s. It really underscores the power of gut feelings.
Yep.
It involves a man, maybe mid-20s back then. He was going through a tough breakup, so he rented a cabin, really remote, dip in the woods. Just wanted some peace, Met the owner, who apparently seemed perfectly friendly, helpful even, got the keys, settled in. First day was fine, relaxing.
Standard escape scenario, sounds like.
Right. But then later, he goes for a long walk, gets a bit turned around, takes longer than expected. By the time he gets back to the cabin, it's dark.
Okay.
And 2 things immediately feel off. First, the curtains at the back of the cabin, they were drawn shut. He was pretty sure he hadn't done that.
A small detail, but noticeable.
But the second thing was deeper. He walks into the bedroom, and this bedroom had no windows, apparently. And he's hit with this feeling, an atmosphere.
How so?
He described it as intensely strange, tense, like the air itself was wrong. His subconscious just screamed danger.
Ah, yes. That's often the limbic system firing. It perceives subtle environmental shifts, maybe a scent, a displacement of air, something visually inconsistent long before the conscious brain can process why. It's a threat assessment happening below the surface.
He didn't stick around to figure it out. Didn't rationalize, didn't check closets. He just felt that wrongness, grabbed his keys and jacket, and drove straight to a motel. Didn't even pack.
A powerful reaction,
Yes.
Trusting that instinct implicitly.
Absolutely life-saving, as it turned out. He went back later, maybe 4 p.m. the next day or so, just to drop off the keys. And the owner's there, along with several police officers.
Oh, wow.
The owner had gone in and found, well, first, a big muddy shovel just sitting on the living room couch.
Looked out in the open like that? That's
Well.
confrontational, deliberate placement, staging.
Definitely. But the bedroom, where he felt that intense rawness, that was worse. Laid out neatly on the bed were several Polaroid pictures.
Polaroids? Of what?
Of him, taken the day before, while he was having a beer on the porch, looking out the window. Even one, chillingly, of the owner handing him the keys when he first arrived.
All taken from a distance.
Yeah, from the tree line, surveillance. And on the back of the very last photo, someone had handwritten just 2 words. So close.
Unbelievable. That combines stalking with psychological terror. Leaving the photos the shovel. It's designed to say, I was here, I watched you, I controlled this space, and you almost didn't leave.
And the final piece. The police searched the nearby woods. They found a freshly dug hole, about 4 feet deep, 7 feet long, clearly intended for him.
That feeling, that atmosphere in the bedroom, it saved his life. His subconscious registered the presence of someone who had been in his space preparing. A stark reminder to listen to that inner alarm.
Okay, so that was about calculated, predatory intent. This next one, it shifts into something far more bizarre, almost theatrical in its horror. This happened up near Flathead Lake, northwest Montana. 4 friends, Macy, Eric, Dorian, and the person telling the story. Late teens, early 20s maybe. They were at a family cottage, for fishing, getting outdoors, trying to reconnect with nature, as they put it.
Another isolation scenario, common theme.
Very. So one afternoon, Dorian goes off to fish by himself down by the water. He's alone, and he hears this rustling in the trees nearby.
Okay, wood sound. Normal enough, maybe.
Maybe. But then, right after the rustling, he hears a bell, a distinct ding, like a small bell ringing.
A bell out there. That's odd.
Yeah. And he swore he saw something, or someone, a figure, maybe wearing a hoodie, kind of crouching down, watching him from the tree line.
Okay, that's definitely not normal.
Not at all. He freaked out, ran back to the others at the cottage. Now everyone's on edge, obviously. They start glancing out the windows, feeling paranoid. Night falls, and it gets really dark out there. No light pollution, pitch black. The narrator is on the couch, almost asleep.
Yeah.
The bell rings again, but this time it's right outside the front of the cabin, not just once. It keeps ringing, off and on, sometimes quick, sometimes faint, just ringing.
Right outside. That's a direct escalation, bringing the strangeness right to their doorstep.
They all gather, totally silent, listening. They look out the window, and they see it. The figure Dorian described, sitting in an old rocking chair that was on the porch, facing the cabin.
Sitting there, rocking.
Sitting.
Yeah.
The chair might have been moving slightly, maybe in a breeze. So Macy, who the narrator describes as the bravest, eventually yells out, tells the figure to leave, get lost.
Any response?
Nothing. No movement, no sound from the figure itself, just sitting there. So they grab knives from the kitchen, whatever they can find, and cautiously go outside together.
Right. Strength in numbers.
They get closer, and they realize why it wasn't reacting. The figure wasn't alive.
Right.
It was a body. An old man, deceased, dressed up and propped stiffly in the rocking chair.
Oh my God. That's monstrous. The decomposition you mentioned.
Yeah, the narrator said it was clear he hadn't died recently. This was an older corpse.
So someone dug up a body, dressed it, transported it, and set it up on their porch as a horrifying display. The psychological sickness involved in that is profound. It's beyond just wanting to scare someone. It's a complete violation. Using the dead to terrorize the living.
And the bell, it was tied around the dead man's neck with a string, so any slight movement of the chair, maybe the wind, it would ring.
An incredibly macabre mechanism.
Yeah.
Just...
Wow. But here's the really unsettling loose end. The authorities investigated, of course. They found faint footprints in the dirt leading from the tree line to the rocking chair.
Okay, footprints of the person who placed the body there.
Exactly. But they found no footprints leading away from the chair. Whoever did this, whoever was likely watching Dorian earlier, they set up this horrific scene and then seemingly vanished back into the woods without leaving a return trail.
Still out there.
Right.
That leaves a terrifying uncertainty, doesn't it? The perpetrator just melts back into the darkness.
All right, our third story is shorter, but it carries this really creepy, ambiguous weight. It's about a strange discovery during a family vacation. This family went to the same lake cabin every summer, became a tradition. The narrator and their brother, when they were teens, used to kayak out to this rock formation. They called it the cliffs. Not huge, maybe 15 feet high, but it dropped off into really deep water. They'd jump off it.
Classic summer fun.
Yeah.
Seems innocent enough.
Totally. Until one time they're resting on top of the cliffs after jumping, and they see something weird in the water below, a white shape kind of floating up towards the surface.
It's like debris or...
It broke the surface just for a second. It was the letter H. A white, maybe wooden or styrofoam letter H. Then it sank back down.
H. That's specific.
Right. Then, a moment later, another one floats up, E, and sinks. Then L. Then P, one after another. H-E-L-P.
Floating up from the depths like that.
Exactly. The narrator said they just looked at each other, didn't say a word, got back in the kayak, paddled straight back to the cabin, and never talked about it. For years. Decades, even.
But that silence is telling. Sometimes an experience is so strange, so unsettling, you just file it away. No framework to process it.
For sure. Years later, the narrator is telling spooky stories and recounts this incident, almost forgetting it was a real memory. They texted their brother, kind of like, hey, remember that weird thing at the lake cliffs?
Did he?
Instantly. Replied immediately, confirming he remembered it vividly, and specifically confirmed the letter spelled H-E-L-P.
Wow. So the analytical question is, what was that? A desperate message from someone in distress? But why release letters one by one, ensuring they'd sink?
It's baffling, isn't it? Was it someone trapped below using their last effort? Yeah. Or something else? Some kind of bizarre, disturbing prank? Or just a tragically slow, cryptic message from the lake itself? They never found out. Just that memory of H-E-L-P rising from the deep. Okay, this last one. This one pushes past creepy and into the realm of the physically impossible. It really messes with your sense of reality. Setting is familiar. Long weekend, log cabin, miles from anywhere. The narrator decides to take a walk alone in the woods, late afternoon.
Again, that isolation factor.
Yeah. About 10 minutes into the walk, something changes. The woods go utterly silent.
Silent how? Just quiet.
Yo, unnaturally silent. Like all sound just stopped. No birds, no insects, no rustling leaves, just dead, pure unnatural silence. The narrator even mentions that old saying, a quiet forest is a dangerous forest.
That kind of absolute silence is deeply unnerving. Biologically, it can signal a large predator nearby, everything else goes quiet. Or psychologically, it can induce a state of hyper-awareness, almost like auditory exclusion, where your brain is straining for any sound cue. Either way, it triggers alarm bells.
And into this silence walks a man. Alone, middle-aged, maybe 50s. The narrator makes a point to notice details: thinning gray hair, deep wrinkles, sort of sickly, patchy skin, really piercing gray eyes. Specifically notes these to confirm later he wasn't wearing a mask.
Okay, establishing reality.
Yeah.
Trying to ground the encounter.
But his expression, It was completely wrong. A huge, fixed, toothy smile, like unnaturally wide, and his eyes were wide open, almost bulging, just locked in this intense, unblinking grin.
A frozen expression like that is highly unsettling. It deviates completely from normal human effect. It signals wrongness.
So they approach each other on the path. The narrator gives a polite, quick nod like you do. The man gives nothing back, no nod, no change in expression. But as they pass, his head, it turns slowly, mechanically, to keep his eyes locked on the narrator. That fixed, wide-eyed, smiling gaze just stays fixed on them as he walks by.
That constant, unblinking tracking is a dominance display, but combined with the fixed expression, it's profoundly creepy. It violates social norms intensely.
It gets worse. After they pass, the narrator feels that prickling on their neck, glances back over their shoulder.
Yeah.
The man is still walking away, down the path. His body is facing away, but his head is turned completely around, facing the narrator, still holding that impossible, wide-eyed, toothy smile, looking straight back at them, even as his body walks forward.
Wait, his head was backwards.
Totally.
He was screwed on wrong, an impossible angle. Body walking one way, head facing the opposite, still locked on the narrator with that terrifying expression. That breaks reality. That's not just fear of a person, that's fear of something fundamentally inexplicable. Seeing something that shouldn't be physically possible induces a unique kind of psychological distress. It shatters your cognitive framework.
The narrator just sprinted. Didn't even think, just ran deeper into the woods, off the path, didn't stop until they were far away. And they noted only when they felt they were a safe distance away. The normal sounds of the forest gradually returned. The birds started chirping again. The rustling came back.
Suggesting the unnatural silence was directly linked to the proximity of whatever that was.
What?
The phenomenon and the figure were connected. That encounter leaves you questioning sanity itself.
So 4 stories, 4 descents into terror within isolation. From calculated human evil,
Like the stalker with the Polaroids in the grave,
to the bizarrely theatrical and morbid,
the dead man in the rocking chair. Truly grotesque staging.
to the cryptic and ambiguous,
H-E-L-P from the lake depths.
and finally, to the encounter that just seems to break the laws of reality.
The man with the backward smile. Pure, sanity-challenging horror.
What it all highlights, I think, is how vulnerable we become when we strip away the familiar structures of society, when we're truly alone out there. The threats can come from anywhere, human or otherwise.
And the critical takeaway, echoing that first story, is the power of instinct. That deep, nonverbal sense that something is fundamentally wrong. In places like these, it might be your only reliable alarm system. Don't ignore it.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? We'll leave you with this question, drawn from these accounts. When you find yourself in the deepest woods and everything falls utterly silent, is the danger you fear human? Or is that silence itself the approach of something else, something that uses the quiet to get close, unseen? Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into these unsettling experiences. We hope exploring them offers some perspective, maybe on vigilance, maybe on just how strange the world can be. If you found this exploration compelling, please do like this video, share it with others who appreciate these kinds of stories, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs. We'll be back soon with another look into the shadows. Stay safe out there.